Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience.
Hello and welcome back to the Rumour Mill. Today on the Rumour Mill, we only have one thing to talk about, and that is that Channel 9 are reporting that Damien Cook has been tabled a 2-year deal by the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Absolutely huge news coming out of South Sydney as well. Now, I've heard a bunch of other rumours as in regards to Wayne Bennett obviously coming to South Sydney and poaching a few players. A big one that I've heard over the past few weeks, and don't know how much truth there is to it, is that one of the players that are going to be poached by Wayne Bennett from the Dolphins is Jeremy Marshall-King. Now, Jeremy Marshall-King, I don't know how old he is at the moment. I will look that up in a second. But that would be absolutely humongous. Obviously, he's been in great form when he has been in the side for the Dolphins, and defensively, extremely solid service, amazing, and net at dummy half can be a real threat as well. So wouldn't mind having a Jeremy Marshall-King, obviously with halves experience as well. If one of the halves go down, he can slot in there and do a pretty decent job mid-game. Peter Mamoudzoulis can come off the bench and play a bit of 9. So in terms of if there's injury, he'd be great cover. I think he's relatively young, 28 years old. He's just getting into the peak of his powers now. I really don't mind a Jeremy Marshall-King signing. A mix of experience and obviously getting into the peak of your powers, as we said. So if that signing happens and Damien Cook signs with St. George, I won't be too cut about it. I'm obviously going to be cut as a Souths fan seeing Damien Cook leave. You know, since being at the Rabbitohs, he's had a ton of origin and international opportunities, and he has been one of the better hookers in the competition. Obviously, in my opinion, still is at his best, one of the better hookers in the competition as well. So if he was to leave South Sydney, I think that'd be huge for the Dragons. It'd be a decent signing. I just don't know why they'd go for a guy like Damien Cook when they've got Jacob Liddle in the system. I mean, Liddle is the future. Liddle's had some great games as well in that Dragon side. I just don't know why they're so against him. For the past few years, even pre Shane Flanagan, he's been in and out of first grade quite a bit, but Little's been outstanding. He has been really solid for the Dragons. For them to get Damien Cook, even if it is just for 2 years, it's just a bit of a strange one for me. Whether he comes off the bench and plays 14 for the Dragons and Little starts, I'm not too sure if they're just looking for that 14 impact off the bench. I think this would also support if he was to come in and Damien Cook and play that 14 role. Obviously, the rumours that Jesse Marschke is going to go over to the Dolphins and they're going to get Sean O'Sullivan in return. Obviously, we reported that last week. I think that'd support those rumours a little bit if Damien Cook was to play that 1-2 punch hooker roll off the bench in that 14 jersey. Yeah, but then again, if Damien Cook's signing there to being the starting 9, I really don't get it because, as I said, Little has been great when he's been in there, and it just takes a bit of the confidence away from Little, as to is he the future of this Dragon side? And it'll start to make him question himself quite a bit. And, I would hate to see a world where they sign Damien Cook, Little gets fed up. He gets confused as to what his role is going to be at the Dragons, and he ends up leaving there. And then over the next 2 years, they don't have a hooker to come in and replace Little or Damien Cook when Damien Cook obviously retires as well. Damien Cook, I believe, 32, 33 years of age too. So, really getting into the peak of his powers, Damien Cook. I just don't know how worth this signing is for the Dragons. As I said, 32 years old. I just don't see how worth this signing is, especially, as I said, with Little already in there doing a good job and, relatively young as well. He is the future of that club for the next few years, Jacob Little. So I just don't see the point of getting a Damien Cook into that side. They don't need a hooker right now unless he's going to be playing a 14 zippy roll off the bench, which then again, I don't think Damien Cook would take. It's just a bit of a strange one for me. I think that he's more likely to sign with South Sydney. I don't know if South Sydney have offered him a deal as of yet. I'm sure there'd be in discussions for sure. I hope we don't do to Damien Cook what we did to Renault and offer him these 1-year deals when they obviously have 2 years left in them. But then again, you obviously want to bring in Peter Mamoudzoulis. He is the future as well. Peter Mamoudzoulis, I think, is 23, 24 years of age now. If you sort of stall him a little bit longer, he might get it fed up as well. So It's a tough decision for the Rabbitohs to make. If they're getting Jeremy Marshall-King, I can see why the Rabbitohs would probably let Damien Cook go. But yeah, look, I mean, as I said, I'd be cut as a South Sydney fan to see Damien Cook walk out the door. He is such a great player, such a great bloke as well. And it would be devastating for South Sydney to let a guy like Damien Cook go. But yeah, look, if we are getting Jeremy Marshall-King, or if they do want to start to bring in Peter Mamoudzoulis into regular first grade, I can sort of see the angle that South Sydney are going for here. And look, he'd be good for the Dragons, but I just don't see the point when you've got Little in there. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this rumour, but definitely something to bring up because it is huge news coming out of both Rabbitohs and Dragons camp at the moment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already. We are growing this community. Make sure to become a part of the Big LEZ'S League community by subscribing to the YouTube, following the Instagram, Big LEZ'S League _. We will see you guys in the next one.